2-minute warning, 2-minute warning to our first of 4 forerunners. 2-minute warning. Attention athletes at the skeleton start. There'll be a 30-second ice box today. 30-second ice box. Attention spectators trackside, welcome out to the Utah Olympic Park. Just a few safety reminders. There's no standing, climbing, or leaning over any fence or barricade that surrounds the track. No throwing objects at or around the track. And most importantly, never enter the track surface for any reason. That's for your safety and the safety of the athletes. For your time here at the Utah Olympic Park. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for our first of 4 forerunners. Sledding track from the skeleton start. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for our second of 4 forerunners. Sledding track from the skeleton start. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for our third of 4 forerunners. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for our fourth and final forerunner sled. Sledding track from the skeleton start. 2-minute warning for Liesel Baker. Big shout out to our forerunners for helping us get prepared for today's race. For Heat 1 women's skeleton, we have 13 competitors. Race 3 for North America's Cup. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Liesel Baker. Sledding track from the skeleton start. Katie Tannenbaum, stand by please. First up in the track out of 13 sleds, we have Liesel Baker of the United States of America. Start time 5:30. Sets the bar for this first heat. Coming out of curve 4. Excellent line through the 5-6 straightaway. Got it all under control. Out of 7 into the labyrinth. 79.9 miles an hour. Straight through the 10-11 straightaway, now coming out of curve 11 into 12, the Olympic curve. If you're spectating here at the park today, that's probably the best curve to be in. Curve 12's at the top of the lower loop. Shades are all open for spectating in curve 12. Liesel Baker, downtime 51.04. The track is now clear at the skeleton start. Katie Tannenbaum. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Lara Vargas, stand by please. Katie Tannenbaum, representing the U.S. Virgin Islands. Start time 5:32. That puts her 200ths behind the pace as she comes out of curve 3. Now 300ths. Now neck and neck. She's made up some speed out of that curve 4. Nice line into 6. 200ths ahead of the pace. Good line through curve 11. 200ths ahead of the pace out of curve 12. 79.9 miles an hour. Getting that speed trap exit of 14, she's still got 77.3 miles an hour. 700ths ahead of the pace. Katie Tannenbaum crosses the finish line 59.9. 59.9. Taking over that top spot. We have a new leader, Katie Tannenbaum, U.S. Virgin Islands. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Lara Vargas. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Kendall Wessenberg, stand by please. The track sledding for Colombia, Lara Vargas, start time 5:26. Fastest start time so far. Makes her way through 1, 2, 3. Little brush. Sliders right out of 3. That's going to cost her a little bit. She's 300ths behind the pace. Comes out of curve 5. Excellent line into curve 6. Top speed 79.8 miles an hour. Still holding on, only 400ths behind the pace. We'll see if she can find some speed somewhere in the lower loop of this track. Excellent line out of curve 11. 600ths behind the pace. 13 drops 1 toe to the ground. 77.5 miles an hour out of curve 14. Downtime for Lara Vargas, 59.6. She takes over that top spot by 300ths of a second. Lara Vargas, Colombia, 59.6. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Kendall Wessenberg. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Shalonda Terry, stand by please. Representing the United States of America, Kendall Wessenberg. Start time 5:28. 5:28. She's 800ths ahead of the pace. She enters curve 3. Good form on the sled. Coming through curve 4, 5, and now into 6. 2/10ths ahead of the pace. She exits curve 6, 7. Now into the labyrinth. 81.7 miles an hour. The fastest sled through that first speed trap so far for Heat 1. North America's Cup Race 3 Women's Skeleton. Excellent line through the Olympic curve into Dinger 13. Still holding on to 80.7 miles an hour through the low point of the track. Climbing 15, she's crossing the finish line 49.71. 49.71. Taking over that top spot. Kendall Wessenberg, 49.71. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Shalonda Terry. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Hannah Gaskins, stand by, please. In the track, we have Shalonda Terry, United States of America. Get a ballistic start time, 5.09 seconds. That gave her a lead of 0.2 of a second. We'll see if she can hold on to it through these upper curves of the track. Coming out of curve 4, she's already back now, only up by 400ths. Now she's behind 300ths through the labyrinth curve, 78.8 miles an hour. The time to beat's that 49.71 set by Kendall Wessenberg. She's the current leader. In the track, Shalonda Terry through 13. Back by 0.7 now. Little sideways through low point. Climbing our final curve, crossing the finish line, 51.19. That puts her in 5th at this time. Shalonda Terry, 51.19. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Hannah Gaskins. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Hannah Russworm, stand by, please. Sliding for the United States of America in the track, Hannah Gaskins, start time 5:11. Another really fast start time. Hannah Gaskins heads through curve 4. A little late exit, dropping a toe to regain stability. She comes out of curve 6. She's 100th ahead of the pace. What's the speed? 79.7 miles an hour. Gets through the 10-11 straightaway, right where you want to be. Ooh, really late, out of curve 11. Puts her into the wall, sliders left before curve 12. It's under control at the exit of 14, but she's lost some speed. 76.6 miles an hour. Crosses the finish line, 57.7. That puts her in 2nd place at this time. Hannah Gaskins, 57.7. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Hannah Russworm. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Logan Woody, stand by, please. In the track, sliding for Finland. Hannah Russworm, start time 5:29. Way through 1, 2, into 3. 500ths behind the pace, out of curve 3. Great line out of 4, 5, and now into 6. The time to beat's the 49.71, 49.71. That was Kendall Wessenberg, current leader. In the track, Hannah Russworm, top speed 79.1 miles an hour. Out of the Olympic curve into Dinger, 13. Back by 0.8 of a second. Where will she be in the standings? Final curve of the track, curve 15. She's going to cross the finish line, 51.20. 51.20, that puts her in 7th at this time. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Logan Woody. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Mackenzie Adams, stand by please. The track sliding for the United States of America. Logan Woody, start time 5:24. She comes into curve 3. She's 500ths ahead of the pace. We'll see if she'll be able to hold on to her speed. Coming through the upper part of the track. Great line through 4, 5 into 6. She's falling back a little bit, 500ths behind the pace. She heads into the labyrinth at 80.7 miles an hour. Now back 2/10 out of 11, real high out of 11. Touches the wall, sliders right. Trouble out of 12 as well. Logan Woody back by almost a full second now. She's lost quite a bit of speed, 75 miles an hour. Out of curve 14, crossing the finish line, Logan Woody, 51.13. Puts her in 6th place at this time. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Mackenzie Adams. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Julia Hamilton, stand by please. The track sliding for Canada, Mackenzie Adams, start time 5:64. We're down to our final 5 sleds. All going to be Team Canada. Our final 5 in the track, Mackenzie Adams. She's back by 0.8 of a second as she makes her way into curve 6. Little brush out of 6 and 7. Top speed 75.2 miles an hour. Comes through the 10-11 straightaway. Making her way into the Olympic curve, curve 12. During the 2002 Olympic Games, the Olympic rings were embedded into the ice there in curve 12. Still got 70 miles an hour out of curve 14. She's going to cross the finish line at 54.21. 54.21. 4 sliders remain. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Julia Hamilton. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Madeline Para, stand by please. The track sliding for Canada, Julia Hamilton. Start time 5:82. Out of curve 4. Real high out of 4. Puts her right into the wall. Sliders left, curve 5. That'll definitely affect her downtime. Another big hit out of 6. Real high out of 7. 72.6 miles an hour. Good line through the 10-11 straightaway. It's not quite as much speed, momentum as she needs to take over one of those top spots. Track can be pretty unforgiving if you make any mistakes early on, really affect your top speed and downtime. Julia Hamilton coming up curve 15. Going to cross the finish line 56.56. 56.56. Track is now clear at the skeleton start for Madeline Para. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Nicole Jones, stand by please. The track sliding for Canada, Madeline Para, start time 5:56. Makes her way through 1, 2, into 3. Little tap coming out of 3, sliders right. Good exit out of curve 4, about half a second behind the pace. Time to beat. Current leader, Kendall Wessenberg, she had a 49.71, 49.71. Currently in the track, Madeline Para, top speed 77.9 miles an hour. Comes out of curve 11. Little high out of 11. Taps that wall into curve 12. It's under control by 13. Good looking exit out of 13. Still holding on to 73.7 miles an hour. A little bit of trouble in low point. Right, tap, then left, then right again. Downtime, Madeline Para 52.85. That puts her in 9th at this time. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Nicole Jones. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Emily Bateman, stand by please. Sliding for Canada, Nicole Jones, start time 6:12. Little tap out of curve 1. Makes her way through 3. Another small tap. The 3-4 straightaway. Little high coming out of 5. Puts her into that short wall. Good exit out of 6, maybe a little high out of 7. About 2 seconds behind the pace. Goes through the 10-11 straightaway, 76.1 miles an hour. Goes down out of curve 13. Going to cross our second speed trap at 70.3 miles an hour. Climbing curve 15, crossing the finish line 54.86. 54.86. That puts her in 11th at this time. One slider remains for Heat 1. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Emily Bateman. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Bringing down the final sled for Heat 1. North America's Cup Skeleton Race 3, Emily Bateman of Canada. Start time 5:79. Spectators, the race today will be decided by the combined downtime of 2 heats. The fastest sleds from run 1 will go at the end of run 2. Reverse order by rank, run 2. In the track, Emily Bateman, top speed 77.8 miles an hour. Goes through 11. Now the Olympic curve. Good line through 12, 13. Where will she be in the standings? 3 seconds behind the pace through low point. Across the finish line, 53.43. That puts her in 10th at this time. Women's Parc Fermé is now open. We'll recap after our first heat, your unofficial top 6. In 6th, we've got Logan Woody with a 51.13. In fifth, Liesel Baker with a 51.04. In fourth, we have Katie Tannenbaum with a 59.9. In third, Laura Vargas with a 59.6. In second, Hannah Gaskins with a 57.7. And your leader after the first heat, Kendall Wessenberg with a 49.71. This will be a 5-minute warning to our first of two forerunner sleds. 5-minute warning. 2-minute warning, 2-minute warning for our first of two forerunner sleds. 2-minute warning. track is now clear at the skeleton start for our first of two forerunners sleds. Sledding track from the skeleton start. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for our second and final forerunner sled. Start. Sledding track from the skeleton start. 2-minute warning for Lin Wei Peng. going to be a brief hold on the track. Brief hold on the track. 2-minute warning. 2-minute warning for Lin Wei Peng. The track is now clear at the skeleton start. Lin Wei Peng. Start. Sledding track from the skeleton start. Joseph Brusik, stand by please. Sliding for Chinese Taipei, we have Lin Wei Peng in the track. It's going to be the first of 20 sleds for Heat 1, Men's Skeleton North America's Cup, Race 3. Lin Wei Peng, start time 4:79. 4:79. Comes out of curve 6. Now, going to hit our speed trap 81 miles an hour. 81 miles an hour. Through the labyrinth curves. Tremendous amount of speed as he heads through curve 11. Going to set a high bar for today's competitors. Lin Wei Peng, Chinese Taipei, 78.5 miles an hour out of curve 14. Climbing that final curve of the track, going to cross the finish line, 49.59. 49.59. The track is now clear at the skeleton start. Joseph Brusik. Sledding track from the skeleton start. Jeff Bowers, stand by please. In the track, sliding for Canada, Joseph Brusik. Start time 4:71. Puts him 12 hundredths ahead of the pace. Let's see if he can hold on to that extra speed. Little bit of a wiggle out of curve 4. He's down to 7 hundredths lead. He comes out of 7, 8. 79.8 miles an hour. He's now neck and neck with Lin Wei Peng. Probably not going to have enough momentum to carry him through the lower loop. Quarter second now. Quarter second behind the pace through 12. Now into 13. Good line through 13 into 14. He's back almost half a second now, climbing that final curve of the track. Joseph Brusick of Canada, downtime 53.2, 53.2. The track is now clear at the skeleton start. Jeff Bauer. Start. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Evan Lee, stand by please. The track sliding for Luxembourg. We have Jeff Bauer, start time 5:11. Heads into curve 3. About a half second behind the pace into curve 4. Excellent driving through 4, 5, now out of 6. Right where you want to be out of 6 and 7. 80.4 miles an hour. Might be able to pick up some speed in this lower loop. About 7/10 behind the pace out of curve 11 into the Olympic curve. Now Dinger, 13. Great line through Dinger. Still back about 7/10 of a second. Climbs the final curve, getting a little bit sideways there at low point. Jeff Bauer crossing the finish line 55.1, 55.1. The track is now clear at the skeleton start. Kevin Lee. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Jared Firestone, stand by. The track, Kevin Lee, Chinese Taipei. Start time 4:87. About 13 hundredths behind the pace. Comes out of 3. Maybe a little brush, sliders right. There was a big brush out of 4 and 5. Quarter second behind the pace. Comes out of curve 6. Nice line out of 7, 78.9. Call it 79 miles an hour. To 11. Now out of 12. Nice line out of 12. 7/10 behind the pace. Where is he going to be in the standing? 75.8 miles an hour out of curve 14. Going to cross the finish line 57.5, 57.5. Kevin Lee puts him in 4th place. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Jared Firestone. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Jacob Coleman, stand by please. The track sliding for Israel, Jared Firestone, start time 4:95. Puts him back about 3/10 of a second as he goes through 1, 2, 3. Make up some speed somewhere on this track. Now a half second behind the pace out of curve 6. He's going to hit the speed trap, 81.8 miles an hour. He found some speed. Gets through the labyrinth curves. No, now back only 4/10. He can hold on to it through low point. Now 3/10 behind the pace as he comes out of 12, 13. This line out of 13. 3/10 behind the pace. Now only a quarter second behind the pace as he climbs 15. Get across the finish line, 49.79. That puts him in second place at this time. 49.79. Jared Firestone. Track is now clear at the skeleton start for Jacob Coleman. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Sebastian Rainier, stand by please. Sliding for Canada, Jacob Coleman, start time 5:12. Way through curve 3. Spectators trackside, there's currently a sled in the track, and we'll be sending sleds throughout the remainder of the day. Just a few safety reminders. Don't stand on or climb over any fence or barricade that surrounds the track, even to get a good picture. Stay back behind those fences and barricades. There's no throwing objects at or around the track. That includes snowballs. No snowball throwing at or around the track. The metal grates and wooden decks that surround the track are for coaches and athletes only. There should not be any spectating on the metal grates or wooden decks that surround the track. Most importantly, never enter the track surface for any reason. For your safety and the safety of the athletes. That was Jacob Coleman, downtime 59.0. That puts him back in 6th place at this time. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Sebastian Rainier. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Warren Milstein, stand by please. Sliding for Canada, Sebastian Rainier, start time 4:62. 4:62, that's the fastest start time for this Heat 1 and Skeleton North America's Cup. Sebastian Rainier ahead of the pace, almost a quarter second. Comes out of curve 6. A little high out of 7, maybe a little brush out of 7. Sliders right. 78.6 miles an hour. Lost a little bit of that initial momentum and speed from the top. Now he's back a quarter second. Comes out of 13. Good line through low point, 68.8 miles an hour out of curve 14. Get across the finish line, 51.26, 51.26. Puts him in 7th place at this time. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Warren Milstein. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Chung Hung Chang, stand by please. The track sliding for Israel, Warren Milstein, start time 5.01 seconds. Puts him back 0.3 of a second as he comes into curve 4. Good line out of 4 or 5. Got some great form on that sled. Really high out of 7. Will drop out of 7. 79.3 miles an hour. Gets right down the middle through the 10-11 straightaway. High out of 11 puts him into the wall before curve 12. Little hit out of 13. Under control through low point, right down the middle through low point. What will his downtime be? 51.30. Puts him in 8th place at this time. Track is now clear at the skeleton start. Chung Hung Chang. Sledding track from the skeleton start. Andrew Whittier, stand by please. The track sliding for Chinese Taipei, Chung Hung Chang, start time 4:91. 4:91, makes his way through curve 3, about 2/10 behind the pace. Current leader is Lin Wei Peng, also from Chinese Taipei, 49.59. 49.59 is the time to beat. Current leader, Lin Wei Peng. In the track, Chung Hung Chang, 79.6 miles an hour. He's only back 0.3 of a second. Makes his way through 11. Good line out of 11 into 12. Good on that sled out of 13. He's going to hit our second speed trap, 76.6 miles an hour. Up curve 15, crossing the finish line, 53.7. That puts him in 4th place at this time. Chung Hung Chang, 53.7. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Andrew Whittier. Sledding track from the skeleton start. Dylan Burris, stand by please. The track representing the United States of America, Andrew Whittier. Start time 4:66. 4:66. Fastest start time. Correction. There was a 4:62. This is a fast start time. 4:66. Andrew Whittier. He's a quarter second ahead of the pace as he makes his way through the labyrinth. 80.7 miles an hour. Now 2/10 ahead of the pace. Out of curve 11. Nice line into the Olympic curve. He's back up to a quarter second ahead. Now 3/10 out of curve 14. 78.7 miles an hour. Is it going to be enough to take over the top spot? Crossing the finish line, 49.34. It's enough. 49.34, Andrew Whittier taking over the top spot at this time. Track is now clear at the skeleton start for Dylan Burris. Sledding track from the skeleton start. Lucas Kizel, stand by please. In the track, Dylan Burris, United States of America. Start time 4:86. Comes into curve 3. Nice lines through 4, 5, 6. Little tap coming out of 6 into 7. About 7/10 behind the pace, 77.7 miles an hour. That sounds pretty lucky. Dylan Burris coming out of curve 11. Got a second behind the pace. Little late exit out of 12. Got it under control coming out of 13. Still holding on to 74.3 miles an hour through the low point, shady thicket on this track. Crossing the finish line, Dylan Burris, 51.34. That puts him in 11th at this time. Dylan Burris, 51.34. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Lucas Kizel. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Tyler Lutz, stand by please. Sliding for the United States of America, Lucas Kizel. Start time 5 seconds flat. Way into curve 3, half a second behind the pace. Little tap coming out of curve 3. Our new leader is Andrew Whittier. He had the 59.34. 59.34 is the time to beat. Lucas Kizel coming out of curve 7, a little high out of 7. 77.5 miles an hour. Right where you want to be in the 10-11 straightaway. Curve 11. Excellent exit out of 11. Still about a second and a half behind that pace as he comes out of curve 14. Little tap out of 14. 74.3 miles an hour as he crosses the finish line. 51.77. That puts him in 12th. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Tyler Lutz. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Andrew Pitwerbeski, stand by please. In the track, sliding for the United States of America, Tyler Lutz. Start time 4:65. Another really fast start time. See if he can hold on to that speed. Big hit at a curve 6 into 7. 78.2 miles an hour. Scrubbed a little bit of speed out of curve 6 there. Maybe brushing sliders left through the 10-11 straightaway. About 7/10 behind the pace. Falling back out of 12. Now 13. 9/10 behind the pace. Comes out of curve 14. Still holding on to 74.9 miles an hour. But a little bit of a ping pong there at low point. Right, left, then right again. Crossing the finish line, 59.3. 59.3 for Tyler Lutz. Puts him in 9th place at this time. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Andrew Pitwerbeski. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Xander Greco, stand by please. The track sliding for Canada, Andrew Pitwerbeski. Start time 4:81. Makes his way through 1, 2, 3. 3/10 behind the pace. Small tap headed into curve 4. Good line out of 4, 5, now into 6. half second behind the pace out of curve 6. A little high out of 7. Looks like he's able to get it under control. 77.7 miles an hour. Right down the middle through the 10-11 straightaway. Second behind the pace out of curve 11. Got 5 sleds remain after the sled that's in the track. 5 sleds. Gorbeski, 72 miles an hour out of curve 14. Going to cross the finish line, 51.91. 51.91. The track is now clear at the skeleton start. Xander Greco. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Eduardo Strapison, stand by please. In the track, sliding for Canada, Xander Greco, start time 4:81. At a curve 3. About 4/10 behind the pace. Little bump out of curve 5. Little sideways going into curve 6 there. Let's see how his exit is. Excellent exit. High coming out of 7, about a second behind the pace. Goes through the labyrinth, 75.6 miles an hour. Rush out of 11. Good line through the Olympic curve and 13. Big tap out of 14. Going across the finish line, 53.13. 53.13. Xander Greco, Canada. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Eduardo Strapison. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Howie Gonçalves, sound by please. In the track, representing Brazil, Eduardo Strapison, start time 5 seconds flat. 3, now out of 4, about 8/10 behind the pace of our current leader, Andrew Whittier. He had a 49.34. That is the time to beat, 49.34. Strapison in the track, 79.2 miles an hour. Goes through the labyrinth. Line out of 11 into curve 12. Out through Dinger, 13. 77 miles an hour out of curve 14. He's climbing that final curve of the track. 51.09. 51.09, that puts him in 10th place at this time. Eduardo Strapison, 51.09. Track is now clear at the skeleton start. Howie Gonçalves. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Massimo Artizzoni, stand by please. In the track representing Brazil, Howie Gonsalves, start time 5:08. 5:08. Tap going into curve 4. Nice line out of 4. Second behind the pace. Hugs that sliders right into curve 6. Big hit out of 6. Puts him real high in 7. Gonna scrub some speed. He makes his way through the labyrinth, 76.9 miles an hour. Curve 11. Nice line through the Olympic curve into Dinger. 2 seconds behind the pace. Few hits in low point. Gonna cross the finish line. 52.75, 52.75. That puts him in 16th at this time. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Massimo Artizzoni. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Baden Park, stand by please. In the track, sliding for Canada, Massimo Artizzoni, start time 4:72. 4:72. Makes his way through curve 3. Little sideways going into curve 4. About 2/10 behind the pace. Now back 4/10. Back 4/10 as he makes his way through curve 6. Tap out of 6. 75.2 miles an hour. Down through the labyrinth curves. 8, 9, 10. Out of 11. Good line going through 12. 13. Just not quite enough speed to take over a top spot. Couple taps out of curve 14. 74 miles an hour. Finish time 51.86. 51.86. Puts him in 15th. 2 sliders remain. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Baden Park. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Noah Park, stand by please. The track sliding for the United States of America, Baden Park, start time 5:05. 5:05. Headed down into curve 4, about 6/10 behind the pace. 5, 6. Line out of 6 and 7, 79.7 miles an hour. 10 into 11. Got a great line coming out of 11 into curve 12. About a second behind the pace. Out of 13. Still holding on to 76 miles an hour. Hit that final speed trap. Downtime for Baden Park, 58.4. 58.4. Puts him in 8th place at this time. Track is now clear at the skeleton start for Noah Park. sled in track from the skeleton start. Bringing down the final sled for Heat 1. And it's North America's Cup Race 3. Noah Park, start time 5:05. That matches Baden Park's start time. The Skella Twins, same start time. Noah Park coming out of curve 6, 80.6 miles an hour, 0.8 behind the pace. Way out of curve 11. Great line out of 11. 0.8 behind the pace. Through 12, now 13. 78 miles an hour out of curve 14. Little bit sideways and a tap there at low point. Going to cross the finish line 54.2. That puts him in 6th place at this time. Let's recap after your first heat. Your unofficial top 6. In 6th, Noah Park, 54.2. In 5th, Chung Hung Chang, 53.7. In 4th, Joseph Brusick with a 53.2. In 3rd, Jared Firestone with a 49.79. In 2nd, Lin Wei Peng with a 49.59. And your leader after the first heat, Andrew Whittier with a 49.34. A 5-minute warning, 5-minute warning until we send our first of 2 forerunner sleds. 5-minute warning. Two-minute warning for our first of 2 forerunner sleds. 2-minute warning. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for our first of two forerunners. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Attention spectators, trackside, welcome out to the Utah Olympic Park. Race day today. We've got a forerunner in the track. We'll be sending sleds throughout the remainder of the day. Just a few safety reminders while you're with us here trackside. No standing, climbing, or leaning over any fence or barricade that surrounds the track. No throwing objects at or around the track. Most importantly, never enter the track's surface for any reason. That's for your safety and the safety of the athletes. Enjoy your time here at the Utah Olympic Park. Ladies Park for May is now closed. All sled work must be complete at this time. Track is now clear at the skeleton start for a second and final forerunner sled. Sled in track from the skeleton start. 2-minute warning for Julia Hamilton. Skeleton start, 2-minute warning. The track is now clear at the skeleton start. Julia Hamilton. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Nicole Jones, stand by please. We are back to racing with Heat 2. Women's North America's Cup Race 3. 13 athletes for the second heat. Reverse order by rank. So the fastest sleds from Heat 1 will go at the end of Heat 2. You should see a lot of leader changes. Combined downtime between the two heats. In the track, Julia Hamilton of Canada, start time 5:75. She had a top speed of 71.9, call it 72 miles an hour. Her last run, she did a 56.56. Going to cross the finish line for her second run, 55.96. 55.96. Julia Hamilton, combined downtime 1 minute, 5.252. Track is now clear at the skeleton start for Nicole Jones. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Mackenzie Adams, stand by please. The track sliding for Canada, got Nicole Jones, start time 6:07. Last run, she did a 54.86, and she needs a 57.66 to hold on to her position and not drop. Getting a little sideways in curve 5 into 6. Big hit out of curve 6. Makes her way into the labyrinth at 73.2 miles an hour. Rush sliders left in that 10-11 straightaway. Coming through the Olympic curve, curve 12 now. Drew Dinger. She needs a 57.66, and she's about a second ahead of that pace, so she's probably got it as she climbs curve 15. Across the finish line, 56.80. 56.80. Combined downtime 1 minute, 5.166. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Mackenzie Adams. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Emily Bateman, stand by please. The track sliding for Canada. Mackenzie Adams, start time 5.60. Making her way through 1-2, now into 3. Last run, she did a 54.21. 54.21. Good line coming out of 4 into 5. Now snowy, curve 6. Straight line out of curve 6. 77.7 miles an hour through the labyrinth. About 2 seconds ahead of the pace. Through the Olympic curve. Nice line through 12:13. A fast run for Mackenzie Adams. Top speed out of 14, 70.6 miles an hour. Crossing the finish line, 53.48. 53.48. Combined downtime 1 minute, 4.769. Track is now clear at the skeleton start. Emily Bateman. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Adeline Para, stand by please. Representing Canada, Emily Bateman. Start time 5:75. Coming out of curve 1 into 2. Needs a 54.26 to hold on to her position, and she's 7/10 ahead of that pace. Coming out of curve 4. Now almost 8/10 up. Makes her way through curve 6. Nice line out of 6-7. 79.4 miles an hour. Drag and tow a little bit through the 10-11 straightaway. Into curve 12. High out of 12. Good line through 13. He's a full second and a quarter ahead of the pace. Coming out of curve 14 at 68.6 miles an hour. Now only a second ahead of the pace. Crossing the finish line, 53.38. 53.38. Holding on to her position, Emily Bateman. 1 minute, 4:6.81. Track is now clear at the skeleton start for Adeline Para. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Hannah Russworm, stand by please. Track, sliding for Canada, Adeline Para. Start time 5:52. She needs a 53.96 to hold on to her position. She's 8/10 ahead of that pace. Last run, she had a 52.85. Coming out of curve 5 into 6. Got a half second ahead of the pace. Hit out of 6 and a real high in 7. Now only 2/10 ahead of the pace. 75.4 miles an hour. She's fallen back 15 hundredths. Comes out of curve 11. She'll need to find speed in this lower loop of the track. Good line out of 12 into 13. 3/10 behind the pace. Not quite as much speed. Big hit coming out of 14. 73.5 miles an hour. She found some speed somewhere. 53.58. Holding on to her spot. Adeline Para, 1 minute, 4:6.43. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Hannah Russworm. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Shalonda Terry, stand by please. Representing Finland, Hannah Russworm, start time 5:33. Last run, last heat, she did a 51.20. 51.20. 55.23 to hold on to her position. She's 2 seconds ahead of that pace. She comes out of curve 6. Going to hit our first speed trap, 79.1 miles an hour. It's through the labyrinth curve, right down the middle of the 10-11 straightaway. Out of curve 11. 3 seconds ahead of the pace. Out of 12, now 13. Beautiful line out of 13. Still holding on to 74.7 miles an hour. Climbs the final curve of the track. Going to have a downtime 51.71. 51.71. Hannah Russworm. Combined downtime 1 minute, 4:2.91. Track is now clear at the skeleton start for Shalonda Terry. Sled and track from the skeleton start. Logan Woody, stand by please. Track sliding for the United States of America. Shalonda Terry, start time 5:04. 5:04. Her way through 1, 2, 3. Nice line out of 3. She's half a second ahead of the pace. Coming out of 4. She needs a 51.72. 51.72. Hold on to her position. Wants to climb any spots, she'll need to do at least that. 51.72. 7/10 ahead of the pace through the 10-11 straightaway, 80.8 miles an hour. A little late out of curve 11, puts her into the wall before curve 12. Real high out of curve 12. It's under control by 13. 73 miles an hour out of curve 14. Still has 0.8 of a second lead. As she crosses the finish line, 58.9. 58.9. Combined downtime, 1 minute, 4:2:08. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Logan Woody. Sled and track from the skeleton start. Liesl Baker, stand by please. Logan Woody, United States of America, start time 5:34. Going through 1, 2, 3. She needs a 59.5 to hold on to her position, and she's 4/10 behind that pace. Now coming out of curve 4 into 5. Still 4/10 behind the pace. She'll have to find some speed in the lower loop. She makes her way into the labyrinth at 80.8 miles an hour. Good lines all through the labyrinth as she heads into curve 11. About half a second behind the pace and a little late out of curve 11. High out of 12. Bounces her off the wall into 13. 74.6 miles an hour. I don't think it's going to be enough as she climbs the final curve of the track. Downtime for Logan Woody, 51.45. 51.45. That puts her in second, dropping one position at this time. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Liesl Baker. Sled and track from the skeleton start. Katie Tannenbaum, stand by please. Track sliding for the United States of America, Liesl Baker, start time 5:26. Her way through 1, 2, into 3. She's a quarter second behind the pace. She needs a 51.04 to hold on to her position. Now 3/10 behind the pace through curve 6 and 7. 79.5 miles an hour. See if she can find some speed in the lower loop. Excellent line through the 10-11 straightaway. Heads into the Olympic curve, curve 12. Good line through 12. 13. Still back about 7/10 of a second. Liesl Baker coming out of curve 14, 75.4 miles an hour. Crossing the finish line, 51.36. 51.36. She also drops one position. Current leader, Shalonda Terry, she's climbed 2 spots. That combined downtime of 1 minute, 4:2:08. Liesl Baker, combined downtime 1 minute, 4:2:40. track is now clear at the skeleton start for Katie Tannenbaum. Sled and track from the skeleton start. Laura Vargas, stand by please. Katie Tannenbaum sliding for the U.S. Virgin Islands. Start time 5:36. She needs a 51:09, a 51:09. Hold on to her position. She's a quarter second behind that pace, coming out of curve 4. Excellent line through the 5-6 straightaway. Quarter second behind the pace, 80.8 miles an hour through the labyrinth. Straight as an arrow down that long 10-11 straightaway. Beautiful exit out of 11. Still about a quarter second behind that pace. She needs a 51:09. See if she can find some speed out of 14. She does. She's only 9 hundredths behind the pace. She did it. She did it. 59.4. 59.4. Combined downtime 1 minute. 4:1.93. We have a new leader, Katie Tannenbaum. 1 minute. 4:1.93. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Lara Vargas. Sled and track from the skeleton start. Anna Gaskins, stand by please. Track sliding for Colombia, Lara Vargas. We're down to our final 3 sliders for Heat 2. These were the 3 fastest sleds. Heat 1. Lara Vargas, Colombia, start time 5:25. Just dragging toe a little bit off the ramp. That might scrub a little bit of speed. She needs a 59.7. Hold on to her position, and she's a quarter second behind that pace. 78.6 miles an hour top speed through the labyrinth. Not quite as much speed as our current leader, Katie Tannenbaum, was able to find through that straightaway. Good run, Lara Vargas through the 12:13. 76.2 miles an hour, but she's a half second behind the pace. Crossing the finish line 51.62. That puts her all the way back in 4th place, tied with Logan Woody. 1 minute 4:2.58. 1 minute 4:2.58. Combined downtime. Lara Vargas. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Hannah Gaskins. Sled and track from the skeleton start. Kendall Wessenberg, stand by please. Track, Anna Gaskins, the United States of America. Start time 5:17. Way through curve 3. She needs a 51.16. Hold on to her position, not drop any position. She's a quarter second ahead of that pace. Last run, she did a 57.7. Now only 2/10 ahead of the pace. She falls back. Ooh, 6 hundredths now ahead of the pace through that 10-11 straightaway, 79.2 miles an hour. Real high out of 11 puts her into the wall before curve 12. She's back now. She's back 2/10. She comes out of curve 14, 75.1 miles an hour. Going to be enough? Is it going to be enough as she crosses the finish line? 51.63. 51.63. Going to drop her 3 positions. Tying for 3rd place with Liesl Baker with a combined downtime 1 minute 4:2.40. Track is now clear at the skeleton start for Kendall Wessenberg. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Bringing down the final sled for Heat 2, we've got Kendall Wessenberg, United States of America. Start time 5:29. She had a healthy lead from the first heat with that 49.71. She needs a 52.22. So something catastrophic would have to happen to Kendall Wessenberg for her to lose her position. Nice line through 6, 7, 81.4 miles an hour. She's cooking through the labyrinth. Kind of looking like a victory lap through low point. Nice line out of 11 into 12. Excellent through 13. She's almost a second and a half ahead of the pace out of curve 14, 79.9 miles an hour. Up that final curve, crossing the finish line, Kendall Wessenberg, 49.99. Holding on to that top spot, Kendall Wessenberg, combined downtime 1 minute, 3:9.70. After 2 heats, top 6. In 6th, we have a tie for 6th. That's going to be Lara Vargas and Logan Woody. That combined downtime was 1 minute, 4:2.58. In 4th, also a tie, Liesl Baker and Hannah Gaskins with a 1 minute, 4:2.40. In 3rd, Shalonda Terry with a 1 minute, 4:2.08. In 2nd, Katie Tannenbaum with a 1 minute, 4:1.93. Your leader, after 2 heats, Kendall Wessenberg with a 1 minute, 3:9.70. 5-minute warning, 5-minute warning to our first of 2 forerunner sleds. 5-minute warning.
Two-minute warning to the first of 2 forerunners. Attention athletes, men's park from A is closed.
Track is now clear at the skeleton start for a first of 2 forerunner sleds. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Track is now clear at the skeleton start. Second, final forerunner sled. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Be a 2-minute warning, 2-minute warning. Xander Greco, skeleton start. Track is now clear at the skeleton start for Xander Greco. Sledding track from the skeleton start. Howie Gonsalves, stand by, please. Bringing down the first sled for Heat 2, we've got Xander Greco, start time 4:75. Second heat's reverse order by rank, so the fastest sleds from Heat 1 go at the end of Heat 2. We should see a few leader changes. We make our way down this list of 20 athletes. We got 20 athletes in the second heat. In the track, Xander Greco of Canada. Last run, he did a 53.13. 67 miles an hour out of curve 14. Big hit out of 15. Big hit out of 15. 54.56. 54.56. For Xander Greco. Track is now clear at the skeleton start. Howie Gonsalves. Sledding track from the skeleton start. Andrew Werbeski, stand by, please. The track sliding for Brazil. Howie Gonsalves. Start time 5.08 seconds. A little bit of trouble in 2. A little tap into curve 4. About 3 hundredths ahead of the pace. He needs a 54.94. Hold on to his position. Real high out of 7. Makes his way down into the labyrinth at 76.2 miles an hour. Now 0.2 ahead of the pace. Out of curve 11. Last run, he did a 52.75. Ooh, real late out of curve 13. Comes off his sled a little bit, but he's back on. And he's got a full second ahead of the pace as he crosses the finish line, 53.13. 53.13 combined downtime, 1 minute, 4.588. Track is now clear at the skeleton start for Andrew Werbeski. Sledding track from the skeleton start. Massimo Artizzoni, stand by, please. Track representing Canada, Andrew Werbeski. Start time 4.80. Last run, he did a 51.91. 51.91. He needs a 53.97 to hold on to his spot as he makes his way down through curve 6. Nice line through 6, 77.3 miles an hour. Little tap going into curve 11, sliders left. Excellent line out of 11. Through the Olympic curve, curve 12. Now Dinger, 13. Hugging that. Sliders left out of curve 14, 71.3 miles an hour. Downtime for Andrew Pidwerbeski, 52.26. Combined downtime 1 minute, 4.417. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Massimo Ardizzoni. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Lucas Kizel, stand by please. The track sliding for Canada, Massimo Ardizzoni, start time 4.78. 4.78 as he makes his way through curve 3. Big tap out of curve 3 sends him sideways into curve 4. Got it under control, coming out of 4 into 5. He's 14 hundredths behind the pace. Little tap out of curve 6. He needs a 52.31 to hold on to his position, and he's a quarter second behind that pace. Makes his way through the 10-11 straightaway. Little brush sliders left, both in the 10-11 straightaway and out of 11. Nice line out of 13. 6 hundredths behind the pace. Will he be able to find some speed out of 14? I think he's going to do it. Downtime 51.90. 51.90. Combined downtime 1 minute, 4.376. Holding on to that spot. Track is now clear at the skeleton start for Lucas Kizel. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Dylan Burris, stand by please. Sliding for the United States of America, Lucas Kizel, start time 5.07. He needs a 51.99. Hold on to his position, and he's 3/10 behind that pace. Makes his way through curve 4. Now 13 hundredths behind the pace. He's catching up. He's catching up quick as he comes out of curve 6. Now 8 hundredths ahead of the pace. 79 miles an hour into the labyrinth. Look at that, sliders right into curve 11. Now into curve 12. Nice line out of 12. 4/10 ahead of the pace. Got some serious speed. He comes out of curve 14. Little tap, sliders right, sends him into sliders left. Crossing the finish line, Lucas Kizel, 51.67. 51.67. Combined downtime 1 minute, 4.344. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Dylan Burris. Sled in track from the skeleton start. Warren Milstein, stand by please. The track, sliding for the United States of America, Dylan Burris, start time 4.84. He needs a 52.10. 52.10. Hold on to that top spot at this time. 52.10. He's 8/10 ahead of that pace. Last run, he did a 51.34. Line out of 6. Good out of 7. 77.9 miles an hour into the labyrinth. Good line through the 10-11 straightaway. 7/10 tenths ahead of the pace through 12. Excellent exit out of 12. 7 tenths ahead of the pace. Coming out of 14. Good line, drag and toe a little bit out of 14. 8 tenths ahead of the pace. Crossing the finish line, 51.12. 51.12. He's looking to climb a position or two. 51.12. Dylan Burris combined downtime 1 minute 42.46. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Oren Milstein. Sledding track from the skeleton start. Sebastian Rainier, stand by please. The track sliding for Israel. Oren Milstein, start time 5.08 seconds. Went through 1, 2, 3. Good line through the 3-4 straightaway. He's 3 tenths behind the pace. He needs a 51.16. A 51.16 to hold on to his spot. Last run he did a 51.30. He'll have to do better than last run. Trouble out of 7. Real high coming out of curve 7. 77.3 miles an hour. He's now back a half a second. He comes out of curve 11. Good line through 12 and 13. 7 tenths behind the pace. And a tap coming out of 14. 74.5 miles an hour out of 14. Going to cross the finish line at 52.04. That drops him back one position. 52.04. Combined downtime 1 minute 4.334. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Sebastian Rainier. Sledding track from the skeleton start. Eduardo Strapison, stand by please. Track sliding for Canada, Sebastian Rainier. Start time 4.65. 4.65. The fastest start time for Heat 2 we've seen so far. Sebastian Rainier, he's 3 tenths ahead of the pace as he comes out of curve 6. He needs a 51.20. 51.20. A little sideways out of 7. Last run he did a 51.26. 51.26, so he's got to beat that if he wants to hold on to his spot. 51.20 is what we're looking for. He's a quarter second ahead of that pace as he comes out of curve 13. Falling back a little bit, now only 11 hundredths ahead of the pace. Now only 2 hundredths. Will it be enough? Will it be enough? Not quite enough. 51.40. 51.40 puts him back a spot. Sebastian Rainier, downtime, combined downtime 1 minute 4.266. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Eduardo Strapison. Sledding track from the skeleton start. Tyler Lutz, stand by please. The track sliding for Brazil. Eduardo Strapison, start time 4.97. 4.97. He needs a 51.37 to hold on to his spot. It's 5 hundredths ahead of that pace. Comes out of curve 4 into 5. Now 6 hundredths ahead of the pace. Maybe a toe down, headed into 6, little tap coming out of 6. Under control by curve 7. 1/10 of a second ahead of the pace as he enters the 10-11 straightaway. 78.7 miles an hour. Good line into 12. 13. He's a quarter second ahead of the pace. He needs a 51.37. 51.37. Climbs the final curve of the track. Get across the finish line. 59.4. 59.4. Combined downtime 1 minute 42.03. The track is now clear at the skeleton start. Tyler Lutz. Sled and track from the skeleton start. Jacob Coleman, stand by please. Track sliding for the United States of America. Tyler Lutz, start time 4:69. 4:69 as he makes his way through 1, 2, 3. He's a half a second ahead of the pace. He needs a 51.10 to hold on to his spot. 51.10. Comes out of curve 6. A big hit out of curve 6 sends him extremely high in curve 7. He may have touched the roof in curve 7. He's now behind the pace. He's behind the pace 15 hundredths as he comes out of curve 11. Now 4/10 behind the pace. 75.3 miles an hour is what he hit through the labyrinth. 72.3 out of curve 14. He's back by a full second. How far will he fall? How far will he fall? 52.28. 52.28. That knocks him back to 4th at this time. Tyler Lutz, combined downtime 1 minute 4:3.21. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Jacob Coleman. Start. Sled and track from the skeleton start. Baden Park, stand by please. We're halfway through with Heat 2. In the track, Jacob Coleman of Canada. Start time 5:13. 5:13. Last run he did a 59.0, and he needs a 51.13. Hold on to his spot. 51.13. He's 13 hundredths behind that pace into the labyrinth. 78.7 miles an hour as he enters the 10-11 straightaway. Good line through 11. Excellent exit of 11. Right where you want to be in 12 and 13. 7 hundredths behind the pace, but he's got some serious speed coming out of 14. 76.3 miles an hour. Give you a little tap at low point. Does that cost him? It does. 51.26 downtime. 51.26. Combined downtime 1 minute 4:2.16. Dropping one position, Jacob Coleman. Your leaders, Eduardo Strapison with the combined downtime 1 minute 4:2.03. I'm in 2 positions. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Baden Park. Sled and track from the skeleton start. Kevin Lee, stand by please. Track Baden Park, the United States of America. Start time 5.03 seconds. He needs a 51.19. 51.19 to hold on to his spot. Last run, he did a 58.4. 58.4. Coming out of curve 4. Good line into 5.6. Nice exit out of 6 and 7. A quarter second ahead of the pace. Into the labyrinth, 80.3 miles an hour. Beautiful line into 11. Perfect exit. Now almost a half second ahead of the pace. This is a good run. Maiden Park, nice exit out of 13. Holding on to 77 miles an hour. Small touch at low point. Crossing the finish line, 54.6. 54.6. Combined downtime 1 minute, 4:1:30. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Kevin Lee. Sledding track from the skeleton start. Jeff Bowers, stand by please. The track sliding for Chinese Taipei, Kevin Lee. Start time 4:91. 4:91. Going through 1, 2, 3. He's a quarter second ahead of the pace. He needs a 55.5. 55.5 to hold on to his spot. Last run he did a 57.5, so we'll have to beat that. Hold on to his position. Good line out of 6 and 7. 77.7 miles an hour. Maybe not quite as much speed. Maiden Park was able to find. He's about 2/10 now behind the pace. Comes out of 12. He needs to find some speed on these final 2 curves of the track. He comes out of 14. He's going 72 miles an hour. I don't think it's enough. Not enough as he climbs curve 15, crossing the finish line. 51.80. 51.80. That knocks him all the way back to 5th place at this time. Combined downtime for Kevin Lee, 1 minute, 4:2:55. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Jeff Bauer. Sledding track from the skeleton start. Noah Park, stand by please. In the track sliding for Luxembourg, Jeff Bauer, start time 5:42. He needs a 57.9 to hold on to his position, and he's a quarter second behind that pace. Last run he did a 55.1. 55.1. Now 3/10 behind the pace. He needs that 57.9. Comes out of curve 6, 780.1 miles an hour. Got some momentum and speed. Let's see if he can carry it through the lower loop. Good line through 10-11. Dropping toe out of 11. Good line through 12. 4/10 behind the pace out of curve 13. 76.6 miles an hour. Climbs the final curve, 15. Across the finish line, 51.26. 51.26. Dropping 1 position. Jeff Bauer combined downtime 1 minute, 4:1:77. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Noah Park. Sledding track from the skeleton start. Chung Hung Chang, stand by please. Track sliding for the United States of America. Noah Park, start time 5.02 seconds. 4/10 ahead of the pace. He makes his way into curve 4. He needs a 58.8. 58.8. Hold on to his position. Last run, he did a 54.2. Our current leader is Baden Park, his Skeletwin. He had a combined down time of 1 minute 4:1:30. Noah Park through the 10-11 straightaway, 79.7 miles an hour. Quarter second ahead of the pace, but he's falling back a little bit. Now only 2/10 ahead of the pace. 15 hundredths now out of 13. Got to find some speed out of 14. Great line out of 14. 77 miles an hour. A tenth of a second ahead of the pace. Crossing the finish line, Noah Park, 57.5. 57.5. That puts him ahead of Baden Park. Combined downtime for Noah, 1 minute 4:1:17. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Chung Hung Chang. Sledding track from the skeleton start. Joseph Brusik, stand by please. In the track, Chung Hung Chang, Chinese Taipei. Start time 4:91. 4:91. Goes through 1, 2, 3. He needs a 58.0. 58.0. Hold on to his spot. He's a quarter second ahead of that pace and gaining. Now 4/10 ahead of the pace into curve 6. Top speed, 81.2 miles an hour. Cruising through the labyrinth. Now a half second ahead of the pace. Beautiful line through the 10-11 straightaway. Good exit out of 11. Nice out of 12. Now 7/10 ahead of the pace. Last run he did a 53.7. A 53.7. Few taps at low point. Crossing the finish line, 53.7. 53.7. Combined downtime, 1 minute 4:0:74. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Joseph Brusik. Sledding track from the skeleton start. Jared Firestone, stand by. Joseph Brusik in the track representing Canada. Start time 4:76. 4:76. He needs a 54.2. 54.2 to hold on to his position. 3/10 ahead of that pace. Makes his way through 4, 5, now into 6. Slowing down a little bit. Now only 2/10 ahead of the pace. Little tap out of 7. Now 3/100 ahead of the pace. He's back. He's falling back. 4/100 now. 78.4 miles an hour. Comes through 11. Now 12. Good line out of 12 into 13. Quarter second behind the pace. Out of 14. Just not quite enough speed. 74 miles an hour out of 14. Crossing the finish line. 58.6. 58.6. That drops him back 2 positions. Puts him in third. Joseph Brusik. Combined downtime 1 minute 4:1:18. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Jared Firestone. Sled and track from the skeleton start. Lin Wei Peng, stand by please. Track sliding for Israel, Jared Firestone, start time 4:93. 4:93. We're down to our final three sliders. These were the three fastest sleds from Heat 1. Jared Firestone, he needs a 59.5. 59.5 to hold on to his position. He's a half a second ahead of that pace. Last run, he did a 49.79. 49.79. He goes through the 10-11 straightaway, 81.6 miles an hour. Good line out of 11-12. 65 hundredths ahead of the pace out of 14. Look at that, sliders right out of curve 14. Crossing the finish line, 49.82. 49.82 for Jared Firestone, 1 minute, 3:9.61. The track is now clear at the skeleton start for Lin Wei Peng. Sled and track from the skeleton start. Andrew Whittier, stand by please. Track sliding for Chinese Taipei, Lin Wei Peng. Start time 4:77. He's a half second ahead of the pace. Needs a 50.02 to hold on to his spot. Last run he did a 49.59. 49.59. Excellent line out of 6, 80.9 miles an hour. Still about a half a second ahead of the pace. The 10-11 straightaway. Beautiful run. Chinese Taipei slider. Excellent exit out of 11. Now 12 into 13. 4/10 ahead of the pace as he comes out of 14. 79.1 miles an hour, holding on to quite a bit of momentum and speed. Crossing the finish line, 49.70. 49.70. Combined downtime 1 minute, 3:9.29. The track is now clear at the skeleton start. Andrew Whittier. Sled and track from the skeleton start. Bringing down the final sled for Heat 2 and Skeleton North American Cup Race 3. Andrew Whittier, start time 4:72. 4:72. He's ahead of the pace by 0.3 of a second. He needs a 49.95. Hold on to that top spot. 49.95. Last run he did a 49.34. Still about 0.3 ahead of the pace as he comes through the labyrinth. 79.6 miles an hour. Not quite as much speed as Lin Wei Peng was able to find. We'll see if it's enough. He's 0.2 ahead of the pace as he comes out of curve 13. Will that be enough to carry him up through the final curve of the track? Now 15 hundredths ahead of the pace as he climbs 15, 12 hundredths. Crossing the finish line, it's enough. 49.82, 49.82. Combined downtime for Andrew Whittier, 1 minute, 3:9.16. After two heats, your unofficial top six. In sixth, Joseph Brusik. The combined downtime, 1 minute, 4:1.18. In fifth, Noah Park with a 1 minute, 4:1.17. In fourth, Chung Hung Chang, 1 minute, 4:0.74. In third, Jared Firestone with a 1 minute, 3:9.61. In second, Lin Wei Peng with a 1 minute, 39.29. Unofficial first place at this time, Andrew Whittier with a combined downtime 1 minute 39.16.